Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. How we doing? What's up, Milo? 2 new patrons. We've only been on for 6 minutes. Lovely stuff. Welcome to the family. If you are here in the chat, enjoy the tutorials and let me know if I can help you with anything. Be sure to drop me a message on Patreon. Right, let's switch this around. What's up, y'all? Bonjour. Welcome, patrons. Exactly. Where do we start? Should we have a bit of a catch up before we get going? I love that point there from Christy. There's always people from everywhere, you know, like everywhere come and join the stream. We get the Australians in first thing. We then get everybody from the States as well. We can have everybody from right to left, pretty much. I'll get drawing in a second. I've got this idea for like a sand kind of design. But yeah, we'll have a catch up. So anyone who don't know, I had my Stag Do this weekend. So I think in the States you guys call it like a bachelor's party. I have no idea what you call it anywhere else. But it was on Saturday through Sunday, and then we were back home, and I had no idea what I was doing. And it was great because the boys were laughing their ass off because we'd get somewhere and I'd be like, what are we doing here? Like, I've got no idea where we're going. And like the first place we get to is right next to the airport. And I'm like sat in the car, like genuinely like cacking it a little bit. And my friend's just laughing his ass off. And because I'm thinking, they're about to chuck me out of a plane. I bet I'm going skydiving. I bet they've like really done me dirty and I'm about to have to jump out of a plane. So, and like we get there and we go past the airport and then like he's wetting himself and then he just, you know, we sort of drive past it and I'm like, oh, result. And then he goes back around the roundabout again and I'm like, oh, no. But then he's just taking the mick and going back around again. So we get up to Bristol. And the first thing we did was go-karting, which of course your boy won. Maybe I'll try and find some other bits. Maybe I'll show you some photos and stuff in a bit. But yeah, we did go-karting and that was sick. It was 5 of us boys. A couple of the boys live in China now, so they obviously couldn't attend. And we did the go-karting, and then it was like I got pole on the qualifying. By half a second, which was sweet. And then our race was made up of the 5 of us and about, I think it was maybe 12 of another like group. And this other lad was pretty quick, but he was in second. And he come up to me after the qualifying and was like, oh, so you're the one I got to keep an eye out for, are you? And I was like, yeah. Anyway, we get into the race and I managed to pull away, easy stuff, pull away. And then it was like I was catching up to everybody at the back of the pack. And like I had to wear a bright pink like overall because they just wanted me to stand out, and it was just like target practice. Like they were trying to look after their mate and try and give him a chance of catching me, and I was trying to get past these people and they were just like blocking me quite aggressively and everything. And I was like, I felt like the whole track was against me. It was awful, but in the long run I got through and I won it, which was cool. And then, so we get into Bristol, and like, I'm already in like the stupidest outfit you can think of, and maybe I'll show you a picture, maybe. But we get to Bristol, and then we get to our hotel, and then we went to this one bar. It's like an activity kind of sports bar-ish, where it's like table tennis, there's snooker, there's bowling, there's all sorts of stuff. And we get there. But en route to there, we had to walk through Bristol city centre, and I'm in the outfit I'm in, and like there's a market and everything on, so it's crammed. It's like full of people, and I'm in my outfit, but I stiffed it. I got through it, and we get there, we just do all our activities and stuff, and we have a few drinks and whatnot, and then we're making it to the next activity. And we get to the next activity, and this is where you lot will love it. So we get in there. We go into this like dark kind of like cellar style bar, right? And we get in there and I'm like, yo, what is about to happen in here? And then like there's a girl with got heels on and a bit, you know, like dolled up a bit. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can kind of get a gauge where this is going. I thought there's no way this is just going to be as easy as just like a lap dance or something. So I'm sat there panicking, and this is what the boys are all laughing, like they're loving it because I'm like trying to work out what we're doing. And the boys are laughing because like a dude comes down in like a robe and he starts looking around as if he's waiting for a party of people to turn up. And I'm like, there's no way that they're about to make me sit in there and a dude be dancing on me or something like that. Like, I'm like, what is going on? Like, so I'm sat there and I'm like starting to sweat a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? I'd be a bit uncomfortable. But we get into the room and the lady takes us in. So I'm like, whoa, result. We get in there and I look to my right and the table's got all of these big paper pads and charcoals and pencils. So we all sit down in front of a pad and I'm like, well, there's enough here easily for one each. Okay. Oh, I get it. We're going to draw her. So we get in there and she goes, so do you know what you're going to do today? And I'm like, yeah, I can get a gauge for it. She was like, do you know what you're doing today? I was like, we're live drawing, aren't we? We're live drawing you, aren't we? And she went, no, we're live drawing you, like pointing at me. So I'm there like, in a split second, I'm up. I'm not letting the boys defeat me. There is no chance the boys are defeating me. Because on a friend's previous stag do, I said, I don't think there's anything I wouldn't wear or do. And so I'm in my like little skimpy outfit. Again, maybe I'll show you in a bit. I get up to the front. It's just us in this like back area of a bar. And I get in there, sit down, and she's like, no. Like, this is a naked live drawing. So I take everything off down to just the pants that I was given. And she's like, well, you guys call them, I don't know what you guys call it, underwear or something. But I get down to that and she's like, it's got to come off. And I'm like, fine. So I'm there just like completely naked in front of the boys. And she's making me do crazy stuff. She's making me like get into poses and the boys are drawing me. And it went on for an hour and a half. Lauren, listen, if you're here, I apologize for the story, but welcome to the family over on Patreon. Enjoy the tutorials and let me know if there's anything I can help you with. So I'm sat there for an hour and a half, completely naked, like, and I'm just I'm doing it. I'm just getting on it. Like, I'm just mentally, I'm there. And yeah, they're getting me to like do poses and stuff. I'm like sat with like 2 chairs in front of me, sat on a chair and with my legs spread up in the air. And like, then she stitches up some of the guys as well. And she's like, oh, you can come and get involved with some of the drawing. So I had to like nominate one of my mates. So he's like stood behind me like it's like a family photo shoot or something. And he's the dad and I'm the mum. He's like behind me and his hands are getting slowly. I'm like, yeah, mate, you got to back down. But that went on for an hour and a half and it was so funny. It's like it's a proper surreal moment, I think, just to be stood there with your little man out. And yeah, just so funny. And then we went back to the hotel, got ready and then went out for the evening and stuff. Had some food at the casino and made some money, which was good. Second day, we go to like what looks like the roughest ends of Bristol I've ever seen. First bit, like, it's like 11 o'clock in the morning. I think our next activity was the next day. And I'm like, we're about to get beaten up, like, or like robbed or something. Like, and I find out we're doing an escape room. So if you don't know what an escape room is, you go in as a group and you have to kind of make your way from room to room solving puzzles to get yourself out in time. But I mean, this place was in the ends. Like, this place was the hood if you guys are from the States. This place, it was a shithole. And we get taken down an alley into this place, got to give away our wallets and our phones. I'm like, yo, this is it. Like, this is it. And I get handcuffed on my own. We go into a room and we're chained to a wall individually. And we were like, I'm literally handcuffed with now a chain wrapped around and I'm handcuffed to the wall in the dark, and I'm like, what is going on? This is nuts. And then anyway, that was actually pretty good fun in the end. And then later on in the day, I'm then again thinking like, there's nothing around here. There's this flat land. I'm like, we're going skydiving. Turns out we went to this venue, and it was like a man-made like lake, which has a wave machine in it, so you can surf. And we had a surfing lesson. We got to surf for an hour, and it was unreal. It was so good, and like it's private sessions and stuff, so you're not like crammed or anything. And it was great, like getting taught how to do it properly, because like we tried to do it down at Newquay and stuff in Cornwall, but yeah, it was sick. It was so sick, and yeah, the boys were awesome. So I had a great time. It was a great time, but it was like non-stop, and I was knackered after. So yeah, we had good fun. But yeah, I'll if you hang around to the end, maybe I'll show you some photos right at the end. But for now, that's it. So yeah, that's what happened on the Stag Do, which was good fun. I'll talk about some other bits and bobs that popped up this week, which is yeah, it's just something that I had to Red Mystica. I mean, you would probably love the photos of me and some of the gear I was in. So yeah, it was great. It was great fun. It was awesome. I don't think I could have done any more days. It was perfect. It was literally perfect amount of duration, rammed with activities and stuff. In terms of like, by the time you get in from place to place, it was pretty non-stop. So it was great. I had good fun. So did I spot a second ago that Neural is Lauren? Was it? I can't see the notifications anymore on my end. Is that right? I think that's right, yeah? You said, it's all good, thanks. I'm excited to get started with the tutorials. Is that right? Because I tell almost everyone, I'm like, yeah, you got to change your name somewhere. You're either Neural everywhere or you're Lauren everywhere. Otherwise, I can't keep up with people's names. Today, I had this idea for like, okay, Red and Neural backwards. Oh, okay. Or maybe I'll let you off then. Okay, that's fine. I can remember that to an extent. Yeah, I just had this idea of like a bird's eye view of a beach, some patterns that have been like carved into the beach. I don't want to sort of spend too long on a design today, because Gary, dude, if you're here as well, welcome to the family. I think we're 4 patrons up already, and we've only been live for 20 minutes. Guys, enjoy the tutorials. Let me know if there's anything I can help you with. Drop me a message on Patreon. Welcome to the family, and yeah, have some fun. We're at like 69 tutorials, 70 around the corner. This month we'll end on 71. So yeah, the catalogue is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And you can, at the moment anyway, access all of them the second you join. So yeah. Picks from the drawing session, yeah. We took some that were like a little bit safe, and I don't mind maybe showing them, but I'll show you later on. But yeah, it's awesome. Right, let's get started with just something, so you guys have got something to watch, you know. But yeah, I don't want to spend too long on a design today. I am a bit shattered from doing. Also, can you hear the music through my mic? I would imagine you can. What did I do? Let's go to Spotify. Bring that down just a little bit. Yeah, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so where was I? Oh, now the music's just completely stopped. There's always one song that just doesn't like to play. Okay, that should be good now. What was I saying? Yeah, sorry. So I was a bit tired from doing a little bit of work that we've done this week, and also catching back up mentally, to be honest with you. But yeah, there's this topic really to talk about, which is the Joel Designs channel. So for some of you that don't know, I'm trying to find a brush here. I put it in here? The dust brush, there we go. So any of you that don't know, I started a second channel at the start of the year, pretty much end of December last year. And the goal of that second channel was to create tutorials using an app that was cross-platform, to just bring my tutorials and capabilities to a wider audience of people on either platform. So you didn't have to be on either, like any of them in particular, as long as you were just using the app that I used. That was always the goal, just to create content that everybody can participate in regardless. Because Procreate, if you didn't already know, is only available on iOS devices, so only available for iPhone with the Pocket version, and of course Procreate that we all use on our iPads. So yeah, that was always the goal, to create that second channel, and it's been really successful. The only problem with it is I've personally been really sort of struggling essentially with the workload. Like, the workload was far too high. To have to create 3 tutorials a week might not sound a lot to a lot of people, but to me it was quite a lot. And bear in mind, I don't do it on the weekends either, and this is not my full-time job, so to me it was quite a lot. And so I dropped the Joel Designs channel completely for the moment. It's on pause technically for the moment, but it was just too much. It was far too much for me to be sort of taking on. It was the correct decision to start it for sure, but it just right now it just doesn't really fit. And the problem is with it compared to like Procreate is I've got to then learn a whole new set of brushes, a new sort of system and ways of doing things. And if you're not in the app playing around with it on a regular basis, then things are going to slowly but surely just like slip out of your mind, because you need to be in there practicing. It's just like Procreate, I'm always in Procreate, always in Procreate. So I've always picking something up. Oh, hang on, could we add something here, like some noise maybe? So the decision was to drop the Joel Designs channel for a minute, and I can tell you that like immediately the second I stopped doing it, like if the second I put out the post, I was already like happy about it. I knew it was the right thing. Like, it felt like a weight off of my shoulders a little bit. So yeah, that's now gone for a moment. Maybe it'll come back, maybe, but for now we're going to crack on without it. So, and everybody was really nice about it actually. I was a bit worried that people were going to be like pretty miffed about it, but they were all pretty good, and yeah, it worked out all right. What's up, Bella? Okay, so the concept now is we're looking down at the ground, and now I'm just going to create some patterns basically. I kind of need like maybe like ink bleed maybe. Yeah. So yeah, that was just a matter of creating some patterns really. So we're using the radial sort of spin here. So I'm going to create a circle, create a dot in the middle, and then I'm going to try and sort of work out the sort of sand and stuff around this shortly. So maybe I'll in fact I'll change this, I'll edit the drawing guide, because you can change it. So at the minute it's set up that if you do something in one, it's like mirroring at the same time, but you can change the drawing guides to be rotational symmetry, meaning now if I do that same line again, it just all goes round in a clockwise fashion basically. So let's make this brush size a little bit bigger, maybe 24%, and let's just get started by creating like a little something like that. Yeah, we can just create a fun little pattern. Not much, just got some new tips for my Apple Pencil. Oh, awesome. I had to go a whole 3 days without using Procreate, but seriously, life's good, and hope you're doing well. I'm very good, thank you for asking. So I'm create a fun little pattern today for this design. Maybe a little something like that. We're And again, another little sort of twist in there. Maybe another one here too. So the idea is that we're drawing in the sand right now. Let's then try and do something a little bit fancy, like a little something like this. That's cool. And then we kind of like work off from there. So maybe we go ahead and just like mimic that line a little bit into here. Can you see what I mean? We're trying to like draw into the sand, and maybe we'll create a few different patterns if I manage to get through it pretty quickly. And then here maybe we just create like a little line maybe. This is all on the fly, so it should be interesting to see how it works out. What if we then do another line? So like there, and that frames the whole thing. That's kind of cool. The only thing I'll probably do is I don't like the scale of which the center is compared to the outside edge. So maybe we'll undo that for a minute and we'll redo it, but with a little bit more of a sort of consideration for scale. So like a little something a little bit like that instead. And then we can go ahead and just create those same lines. That's fun. Oh, and also from the Stag Do, the boys all dressed up like Bob Ross. Yes, radial guide with the rotational symmetry. Absolutely bang on. Bit janky around the outside there, but I'm sure it'll work. What else could we do? Maybe we could do something like, what if we just draw in like a, again, all of this is just like a test at the minute. I think I drew in a circle from here. We could frame it like that. Could do something like that. What could we do? We could maybe just create like blades. Maybe with like little dashes in the middle of them. And I'll show you what the final goal is in a second, because we're going to introduce the C into here as well. I think I had a couple of like interesting patterns. Yes, so we can go ahead and fill in areas as well as it is a Sidemen shirt indeed. I have not got my merch on today, but repping the Sidemen merch instead. Avid watcher of the Sidemen. Okay, cool. This bold ring is driving me a bit nuts. It's a bit too, just a bit too defined compared to the rest. So maybe we'll go ahead and do something else instead. Let's maybe go ahead and what could we do? Let's go ahead and maybe add in a counter spiral maybe. So we go the opposite way. So that one had a good amount of lean to it, and then we go that way. And then maybe we go around that way as well. Oh, that's nice. And then we can go ahead and just add in some little details under there. That's okay for now, or is it? No, it's not. I want to get a pattern nailed down, because if I get a pattern nailed down, then I'll be able to just move on to the second step. what if we do something where it's like wavy almost? So we go ahead and just create like a... Oops. That's nice. We can go ahead and maybe fill some in as well. See what that looks like. So this is why I wanted to do this one tonight, because I can start to mess around with a few different patterns, a few different ideas, and go from there. Joel, the thumbnail for this session had me questioning my life for a second. Did you like wonder what you were subscribed to on YouTube for a minute? Or just like raw sex appeal? Is that what you're talking about? That's nice. I like the waves. And then we're almost close to the side where I want to then try and get the final sort of aspect in. So maybe we then create like a bit of a wave like this. Yeah, I just decided to take the content down a bit of a different route, mate. Listen, if you don't like it, I'll understand. Hang on, Joel. Come on, man. Okay, that's cool. Much better. That's kind of fun for a minute. Let's leave that as is, and then maybe we'll go from there. It's all good. If you like it, you love it. If it's all good. If you like it, I love it for you. Exactly. That's better. That's a little bit more balanced. That's cool. And yeah, maybe we'll fill in the center again. So now I want to just make the sand. Oh man, I did it all on the same layer like an absolute idiot. Right, we'll go back. No stress. No stress. I could have selected it maybe, but we'll do it again. Start with a circle in the middle. And then from there, we'll go ahead and just rotate that out a little bit like so. That's all good, isn't it? It's all good. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. If anything, I like that center a little bit more than the other one. And also that is extremely therapeutic, isn't it? What's up, Cat? Yeah, that was just like a little bit of a snapshot for you of what I got up to on my weekend. Why, do you not like it? Hello, Poppet. That's quite nice. That's much nicer. Could you make them like shells and stuff. So many ways you could do this. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of things that we could do to like actually like create a bit of a pattern as such, rather than just a pattern. You know, we could create like a shell, like those ones that are like, is it like this? It's a shell. Don't worry before you start like freaking out. Is it like one of these ones? It would connect technically. I think it wraps around the opposite side, right? Like a little some. It looks okay from that angle, but maybe not the other way. I'm trying to think what that would curl out like. Would it be like that? Or you could just do a normal shell. We could change edit the drawing guide for a second. We could take off the rotational and do the mirror instead, and then go ahead and just create like a curve there and then out. Again, this is a shell. Everybody calm down. Like a shell like that. Right? That's really cool because that actually looks quite smart. It's like, it looks like a pattern, but it's not. Does that make sense? Alexander, I think I'd have packed the whole stream in if I had have. I think that would have been it. I like that. That's actually pretty smart. We could then maybe do... What if we did like a bucket on that side and maybe a spade on the opposite side? Straight across, round at the top. So we've got bucket and spade and shells, but that just looks a bit naff. So we'd have to maybe add in like a little something like that, maybe some details along the edges of these. Little something there on the edge, that's fine. We'll maybe add some in the center there of the spade, just a little bit. That's fun. I quite like the way that we could just continue to build up lots of things such as that, and then maybe just have like no, we'd need to change that now back to rotational potentially. Not sure that's going to work out now. What's up, Robs? How are you? Yeah, see, with rotational, now that we switched from the opposite side, it's now just going to overlap everything else. We'll get through this because there's a couple of effects I need to try and sort of master before we pack it in. So let's go. That's okay. Your website went live yesterday. I'll put it in Discord. Rob's, I'm drawing just like a sand design today with we're going to bring in the ocean and stuff in a minute. We're just trying to just mess around at this point, just throwing ideas at the wall and seeing what sticks. Oh my God. You know, like certain things, but I don't like any of these. So, and the problem I'm facing right now then is the fact that like we did all these sort of like intricate fun stuff, but then it's like, how do we back away from them now into like other spaces? Like now I've filled that in, can I now go ahead and just do the waves that we did before, where it was like, I think it was like a little something like this. Where is it? And that then kind of frames things for me, which is nice. That's okay. We'll leave it. We'll leave it for a second because there's other effects that we need to try and make, which is, for example, we want to try and make this look like it's got like a little bit of a sandy edge to it. And so the easiest way, if you've done the sand tutorial, the text tutorial that I've done before, it's going to be relatively close to that. So if you were to like tap a few times down here and move that, you'll start to get like this white edge on the edge of the sand. So we're imagining then the light coming that way, or we can have the light go this way a little bit like so. And then maybe we do the opposite in the other direction and have a slightly darker variation. Alpha lock that, fill that, grab this. Like that for a second. It looks a little bit interesting. Let's grab the sand, drag it above here, and maybe like clipping mask it. No, wait. Drag it to the top. That's the top layer. We'll clipping mask it to that, and then just mess around with some of the settings here. What we're trying to do is just let in some of the texture in there. It doesn't look like we're going to get what we wanted. So the other alternative is to grab, say, this layer, and we just go to noise, drag it up to like 20%, which now gives it a bit of a grainy look to it, which is cool. That's fine for a second. Let's then go ahead and, yeah, I like that. Okay, then on the ground, we want to go ahead and darken up the ground, maybe with like a soft airbrush or something. Now we can have the water either come from the top of, yeah, we'll come from the top of the design. So we're going to darken up the sand a little bit, we'll try to. Maybe don't need to go to an extreme like that, but just a little bit darker. And now I'm just going to draw in some ocean. So I'm going to start with a white line here. We'll go to, can we use this one? If that was a little bit less like less pressure sensitive like that, that would be a really nice brush for this. Bring that in from the edge and then just let that just, maybe we could just duplicate the layers straight after. Okay, that's actually quite nice. What brush is this? Pandin. Pandani? 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 Meh. Not used this brush before. Again, this is the thing with Procreate. It's just I trust the brushes to do what I will want them to do, and like I understand to a degree what each category will try and give me. Whereas if I was then chucking Infinite Painter on top of this as well on my workload, I just essentially can't trust the brushes. Like I just don't know what they're gonna do. I just don't know how they're gonna act. What the brush engine that powers that app is like. It was just too much, just way too much. And again, I feel great for having just put it aside already this week. I've turned out a really good tutorial because I just don't have the pressure anymore from the other channel. So we'll now go ahead and we'll introduce these colors here. So we're going to introduce, and I want to try and find a brush that's going to make this really easy. Maybe watercolor. Maybe we'll revisit this in a second. That's fine. Let's switch into another color. Not sure this is the brush for this particular part of the process, but we'll see. We'll trust it. We'll see how we get on. It's extremely light with the color it applies. Cool thing with the way I've done the layers so far would mean that if I want to change the angle of where the water comes from, it's easily done, which is gonna be nice. If I want to have it come from like the top right instead, that'd be cool. Okay, then we'll get into this sort of more punchy color here just before we start to get into some of the bluey greeny colors. Like that for a second, and then we'll go to green. Hopefully the water will start to resemble a bit more like water. Got a little bit more work to do on it, and again maybe we'll switch the colors out. What's everybody doing anyway? How are we all? What's new in everybody's lives? Try this blue. Neural says, all good, just playing Genshin Impact. I've never played it. Never played it. Chrissy says, just learning Procreate. It's just a game you're never going to win in the best way possible. Bella says, in 10 days, I'll be celebrating another year on this rock we call home. That'll be new. I've never been 52 before. 52 here, or just in general overall? You mean rock as in... Oh wait, Bella, where are you from again? 10 days, when's that? Next Saturday? You're in the US. Gotcha. Well, I hope you have a wonderful day. Not a fan of this brush for this. It's okay, but I don't think it's the one for it. It's looking like it's getting close, but it's just not there. Maybe there's a few too many waves as well, to be honest with you, but you know, we'll let it slide. Can't always get it perfect. Just going to try and break it up a little bit. It's a bit too streaky, you can see. Happy birthday, Lauren. Hope you had a lovely time as well. What I want that to look like is that like the water is like really about to like wash it away. So I'm trying to like think maybe we could like blur the edges, maybe even just distort it slightly. So like if we were to like select all three of these, group them, flatten them, turn that off, turn off the alpha lock. What if we were to like smudge the edges? Like, let's just use the watercolor brush the same way. Let's not do that. So like everything under there just needs to be completely gone. Just a little bit sort of just disrupted a little bit, you know? A little bit of smudging, just a little bit. And now we can't, well no, actually technically we can. We could just go ahead and group that, maybe rotate. We could pick the angle we wanted that to come from. Maybe we flip it down, maybe. Maybe that makes a little bit more sense than the top way. What do we think? Upside down or not? Not upside down as such. Maybe that makes more sense. Okay, let's try and do it all again. Group those ones together for a minute and redo it with a different set of brushes to just see if we can do something a little bit nicer. So Pandin was the one, Pandini or whatever it was. No, the other way looks better. What about this one, Marilla? That could work. It's got a nice thin taper to it, pretty solid. Eagle Hawk maybe. That's super thin. Obviously could be thicker, but fairly similar. Evolve. That does have a certain aspect that is correct. And then you could just add in this nice little sort of extra bit of sort of the breakage in behind, like so. It's just a little bit too strong to me, but we'll remember that one. Evolve. Well, this one. Now that one can also work if you keep it nice and light and then a little bit sort of scratchy in behind. You could add some nice breakage on the top there. So that one is not even going to try and pronounce that one. Inking, we could always try the dry ink. Let's have a look. Probably, I mean, we kind of need a bit of a vertical down on it, so maybe the dry ink's not the one for this one. Which one do we think? Left or right out of those two? feel like right's a bit too solid. It doesn't have any pressure sensitivity. Could maybe use both. But I'm thinking left, personally. What do we think? I think it's got to be left, right? As in, it's got to be the left one, surely. Hello? Left. Okay, we'll roll with that. Which was this one. Frey Sinet. Freysinet. Okay. So let's go ahead and try and just do the top down of some of this. I'm going to try and change it up a little bit from the other one I did. And maybe we just roll this in from the side. Okay, that's fine. Let's just leave just the front of the waves for a second. And then let's try and make a 3 mark on that. Maybe with a, oh, lovely. With a super light pressure, we can just add all the sort of the breakage. Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. That one in the middle is probably a little bit too sort of you know, repeating lines as like look to it, but I can go back in and maybe adjust it later or next time. Neural, or Lauren should I say, what made you decide then to come and join us over on Patreon? I'm intrigued to know what, because you said there in your message earlier on, you said you were only considering joining mine. So I'm interested as to, you know, have you seen other people's? Is there something in particular, or is it just the content that I make and the tutorials, the style of them kind of thing? It's always good to have a little bit of feedback so I can gauge what it is I need to continue to do and what I should stop doing. Now I'm thinking this time we don't go for something else. We just get in here with this brush, for example. Soft airbrush it up towards it and then just start blending in color after color. I'm not sure that yellow should be part of this sequence, but we'll see, because I think it should be a little bit more of the bluey greeny colors first. A little bit of the sand underneath looks fine, but I definitely think it needs to be more of the blues, and the green looks good as well. I think that last blue, oh no, hang on, let's maybe just darken that up just a smidge. See if we can just change that look a little bit, because I like that color, but I think it's maybe a little bit too boring if we just leave it like that. That looks cool. I don't mind that at all. And then let's create another new layer. Let's grab a dark color and go back to, what was it? Drawing this one here. And we'll just, whoa, get in here now. Add in a bit of a shadow running underneath. we try and pick like a direction, maybe off to the right, I can maybe get into some of these ones. So if I make another new layer and now put some under these ones here for a minute. And then we just lower the opacity of that down. We can lower the opacity down to that one too. I'm wondering whether or not we grab the pattern we made and distort it to the point where it looks like there's a bit, at the minute the water looks like it's coming at us rather than looking down on it, and that's a bit tricky to try and convey. So I'm thinking, do we just like distort this, bring it inwards a little bit so it looks like it's pointing away from us, like this almost, and maybe, you know, stretch this out, create a bit more of an angle to it. Like, I think that looks a little bit cooler in terms of the perspective as well. What do we think? That's just a little bit less flat. It's like we drew it on the sand and now we are seeing it get washed away. And arguably the water could also do with being like dragged down a little bit now. So like there, if not like there. I like this. I like this. Yes, distort. Okay, cool. Chrissy says, I joined Patreon as well. What hooked me was your lighthouse in a jar. I love mine and learned a lot from watching yours. That's awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed some of the YouTube content, which then obviously made you want to come and support me over on Patreon. Loads of tutorials like that I want to get through. A lot of them at the minute have a particular vibe to them and a little bit of a particular look. There's a couple more misty ones coming up. There's also, they all seem to linger now between about an hour and a half, and I'm cool with that, but it's like every single one is almost that, which is why I want to do something like this, which is just a little bit more chilled out, you know. Nora says, sorry for the late reply, was trying to connect my Discord to Patreon. Well, I've seen people's Patreons and their stuff is cool, but it's just not engaged me much. But your tutorials are on another level. Well, I appreciate that very much. You explain how to get that detail and you simplify it. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think one thing I try to constantly do is make sure that I kind of have like a bit of a repeating style to things, like base shapes, then some base color, then some base highlights, some base shadows. You know, maybe I'll go off and refine something else, but then we come back and we do like fine details, we do fine highlights, we do fine shadows, and then we go from like, it's kind of a similar process, and it's just a process that we should all be doing anyway, you know, of like just building up and up and up to that level. So okay, Kat, fair enough. And Laura says, or Lauren, I've learned a lot from watching and following your tutorials. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. So we like the perspective change on this one. I think we could also maybe add in like a bit more of a, that's got a lot smaller. So maybe we grab both of those layers now, grab that and just bring that down a little bit more, just to darken up the sand by our design, just to show that it's getting a little bit wet over there. And then from there, we've got our design. The highlights and shadows are technically incorrect in here, but we'll let it slide. That's cool. I'm wondering if I can maybe just cheat a little bit by just seeing if there's a brush that I can add in some like watery texture without having to do the whole thing. It's got to be built in. Lately I've been just trying my best to just use built-in brushes all the time. Downloading excessive extra brushes, which I am personally guilty of as well. When I first got Procreate, it's just not necessary. Oh, look at this stubble brush. You know, if that was to run across the top surface there, or even bigger size, you know, like that across the top surface, and then also we could run in some darker ones. If we do a lot of them, I'm just curious what that would look like. And then set the blend mode to something, just to emphasize the water's colors. Yeah, maybe overlay. And then maybe change that to... What if we simply pinch them together now and make that motion blur horizontally? Oh, that's the ticket, I think. A motion blur there. Change the blend mode, yeah. That's cool. Oh, that soft light's nice. That's much nicer. That just looks like it's got a little bit more going for it. That's a little bit easier. So that was the stubble brush. Let's make a screenshot of that one. Oh. Neuro says another thing I love. Use a lot of Procreate base brushes. A lot of the others I tend to be buy these brushes, use these stamps, etc. Which I don't mind getting some of them every now and often. Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Don't get me wrong, I say this every week now, but I do have brushes you can buy, but they're not. It's not me trying to make like if I made a YouTube tutorial on Friday that used paid for brushes, I wouldn't feel comfortable with it. Whereas if I make a tutorial that's a bonus tutorial that week and it's clearly labeled a premium tutorial, like premium brushes tutorial, whatever, because my premium brushes tutorials that are on my YouTube channel are just there because people who buy my brushes get that tutorial and can complete that tutorial. So it's kind of like you can either see the tutorial and then buy the brushes and then do the tutorial, or you can buy the brushes and then go and do that tutorial kind of thing. So it's like a little bit of backwards and forwards really on that. But they're bonus tutorials. They're never like the ones, you know. The main downloaded ones I use are from Calvin, the Drifter Studio. Other than that, I just have the collections of dusty brushes. Rob says, I love stamps. I have an addiction to stamps, mainly because I couldn't be asked to draw very enough. But that's the thing. If it matches up to your style, that's fine. You know, that's just it. I think some people just download brushes for the sake of just having another free set in there and never use them or learn a way of using them. But a stamp's a little bit different because it's just like it could add something to a scene. Chrissy says, I need flower stamps. I have 0 stamps. Pretty new to all of this. I have a tutorial coming out in June that uses a tulip brush, but it's on Patreon, but the brush is free. You know, it's not an extra purchase. So that tulip brush comes out then. It's nothing super fancy. It's just perfect for the tutorial that I did. Neuro says, I'll probably buy your brushes, John. I appreciate it if you do. But you do, you boo-boo. I like it when artists use their brush but not give you Procreate base equivalent. I think Genevieve does that a lot. The tulip brush is a pretty simple one. I don't want to show the design just yet because it doesn't come out for over a month. So we'll hold fire on that just a little bit for now. So this one, I'm going to have to work out a pattern, but I think the best thing to do is just leave it up to people to see what they want to do. I think anything goes. Like this pattern here with the spade and the bucket, which now looks a little bit lost. I would argue is over the top. Like it just needs to be a simple pattern in the sand. So yeah, I would say this is a success, but there's things there that people just don't need to do. So like overcomplicate it. Otherwise, you'll just lose it anyway. I like that. I like this kind of like burnt vintage look to it. It looks very cool. I'm wondering whether or not we could add in like a cool lighting effect off to the right hand side. You know me, I love a lighting effect. I'm wondering whether or not we can, you know, just paint in a little something here over on the right hand side. There's a big blob of color to start with, and then we just roll through the blend mode. Overlay is usually the one. Makes it a little bit more bright on that corner, but probably a bit too much. Could drop it though. Drop it down to like 50 maybe, just to add in a little bit of extra colour on that right hand side. I think that's cool. I think it's cool. My main brush sets I use are from Bardo brushes, Jazz's brush set, and a set I got from True Grit Texture Supply, and I'm hoping to get a second set from them for my birthday. Oh, that's cool. Very cool. Milo's just dropped a link to my brushes there as well if you want to check them out. What's up, Kevin? How are you, my friend? Joel's not wearing the outfit from the thumbnail. Yeah, sorry, you missed it, mate. You'll have to whiz back to the beginning. What's up, Jay? How you doing? Yeah, that's a special perk for sure. I don't think there's anything necessarily I could change from this one. I like what it does. It's just straight to the point. I think it's very cool. For a super supporter. You gotta be a Hall of Fame member now to start getting something a little bit extra. I like it. I like the colours. I think the colours are strong. I think the pattern is actually okay. The one in the centre is really cool. I think what this would be fun for a lot of people is that they can then go ahead and distort this how they want it. Not distort it, sorry, but like draw something that they want to draw. And I think that's really cool. Oh, what's happening with the no T word? It slipped my mind, to be honest with you. We'll have a look though. We'll have a look tomorrow and we'll see what. I think there's 4 entries for it, so I'll pick a winner and we'll make it an emoji here on the old YouTube. I'm very good, Jay. Thank you for asking. Very good. Very good. Could we? I don't want to overcomplicate this tutorial because it's pretty straightforward and nice and simple. Looking at the monitor now of it. The lighting's all wrong, which is all a bit annoying. Maybe I could actually just redo that quickly. If it's flatter there, then the inside edge would be dark if the lighting's coming from that way, so we don't actually need a highlight. So if we actually duplicate that, let's grab this one. If we're clipping itself to itself and then moving it down. So we clip that to itself, and then this one here needs to be alpha locked and be the slightly darker variation and fill that, if that even changed. That's clipped to itself, so meaning if I tap away this way down to the bottom, 1, 2, 3, no change. Which means this one here, we go to our hue saturation and we just darken that up a little bit, we now get that inside edge. That's fine. They're clipped to themselves, so I can pinch the two of them together and I can I started playing now. I can pinch those two to themselves. I can then add the noise effect. I think it was like 20 odd %. That's fine. Then go ahead and tap on it. We'll turn off the alpha lock. Grab distort. Zoom out. We'll point them in a little bit on that edge. Bring that down maybe a little bit onto that center point. Bring that out. I think that could do with maybe even being like a little bit flatter than that. What if we then uniform that down in size and chuck the end of it underneath the water there like so? Okay, that looks pretty cool. And then if we let's go ahead, and then what do we do? Oh, we smudged it. Sorry. So we'll just, oh no, not drawing assist. We just want to make that look like it's just been sort of wrecked a little bit down the end there. Just a tiny bit, like the water just came up and maybe just started to just destroy the edge of it a little bit. Now if I compare that one, man, those shadows are tough. Those highlight edges look like a bit fancier, but that one is a bit more realistic, isn't it? Like that one, no, sorry, that one there has those like crispy edges, but it's not realistic. Whereas that one is more realistic and has just a shadow edge on the inside. Unless you distort it first and then move it. That makes more sense because you've got the angle. Alright, let's catch up with whatever you guys are up to. It's good to see you back. I appreciate it, Jay. It's good to be back. I'll check it out, Robs, in a second. What's up, Petrico? Oh god, I'm so sorry if I ruined that. I'm so awful with names. Petrico. Jay, you can still do it. You still got time. Still got time. You still got time. If you crack on with one now, maybe we'll do it. It's got to be nice and bold though, people. It's got to be nice and bold because it's got to be a tiny, tiny little sort of emoji. So it's going to be very small. So you need to, like, with your canvas, literally just, if you're drawing it in Procreate, just keep zooming out and zooming out until you get to like something as small as you can. And if you can make it out, then that's cool. But if you can't, you may need to just revert some of the colors sort of thing. Yeah, I don't think there's any changes I'm going to make to that one. I don't think there's any changes. Right. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so the only thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to wrap the stream up to an extent, but I promised you at the beginning I'd show you some photos from the Stag Do. So I will show you what I got up to at the weekend. So let's have a look. See what I can show you and what I can't show you. Okay. You can see this one. This is fine. Right. So this one is the outfit I had to wear. Hang on, actually, maybe I'll show you the other one, but just zoom in a little bit. No, zoom in. This is ridiculous. But it's all on my Instagram anyway, so I don't give a damn. Right, are you ready? This photo could haunt me for the rest of my days, maybe. Do I care? Oh no, I don't give a shit. Right. This is what I had to wear. Yeah. Yeah. I had to walk through Bristol city centre like that. And it was most alarming when a kid was walking past, because they had a normal adult, you couldn't see anything. If you were a short man or a short woman, there was a little bit of something out. So yeah, I just got on with it. The boys, yeah, with the bride to be, stitched me up with that as well. You know, just bloody tight. It was bloody tight. Should we see what else there is I can maybe show you? Let's see what else I can find. It's just absolutely ridiculous. The live drawing stuff. I don't know how brave I'm feeling. I think I'm feeling that brave, you know. Oh, here's one angle. This photo is actually staged, so this one's okay. This one's perfectly fine because you can actually see, like, this one was staged. So this one is like, so if you weren't here at the beginning, what happened was the boys stitched me up. Where we went to a bar, and in the bar, there was an activity there, and I thought it was a stripper. Then I thought it was a dude. It was going to be stripping, and then we went into the room, and there's lots of sketch pads everywhere. And I'm like, oh, we're drawing her naked. And she's like, nah, we're drawing you naked, i.e. me. So the other thing, so then I had to get up fully knackered, like get your knackers out. And so this is like a staged photo, like I said. Like this one is like, I've still got the undies on in that one, just keep it PG for the boys. Like they're all pretending to be drawing and that. We've got the Bob Ross, they've got the Bob Ross shirts on with the shirts on and the wigs, and I've got the wig on as well. So you can also see my tattoo there as well across my back, which you've always just seen my chest one as well for the first time, I think. So like, yeah, I mean the positions I was in was just mental. So yeah, that was just crazy. Some pretty nuts stuff in this album. Nah, I think that's it. Yeah, I think anything else has to go on like OnlyFans or something. Just one post ever and that's it. Oh, it's fucking mental. Yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. I think we'll leave it at that. Yeah. Maybe that's the first photo we get an OnlyFans going, and we just roll with some of those. It's mental just to be sat there with the boys for an hour and a half with my little man out, while they just like get me into positions. Like some of the positions were nuts. Like again, like 2 chairs, and like for the final one, they were like, right, get the chairs, spread the chairs apart, and we want you like the Eiffel Tower up like this with your todger out, and like so and my legs are wide apart, so it's just like human tripod just stood there, and it's just ridiculous. Human tripod's ridiculously generous to myself. It was so funny though, like it was such a funny moment that I'll just never forget. It's crazy. Oh, I had to have a few drinks. If I hadn't have had a few drinks before doing that, I just do not think like I could have done it. There was one where they all had to like individually draw something. So like someone had the arms, someone had the legs, someone had the body, and someone had the head. And then they put it all on the floor and stuff. It's just so funny. That's the thing, right? And like Kat says, that's what it's all about. Is like I just didn't give a damn. Like as in like I don't know anyone in that city or anywhere. Like I see a lot of you lot pretty regularly, so yeah, it's a bit different, isn't it? Oh yeah, Mrs. Crate saw the photos that without me. Like she saw me in full pose, todger out and everything. So I think she knew the whole thing ahead of time though, so she knew what was going on. So that's mental. But her hen do, or I don't know what you even call it over there. I guess a hen do isn't till like August, so hers is a while away. But she ain't gonna be doing anything like that. Wondering if there's anything else I can share. I don't think there is, because it's just all a bit too much out there. Do you know what I mean? How much do you want to put of yourself on the internet? Great fun though, like so fun, and just ridiculous. Just a very ridiculous thought. Yeah, probably a little bit too personal, but I usually don't mind making a fool out of myself too much. Oh, do you want to see this that I started and then just never did anything with? Oh no, actually, hang on. I did this, right? Of like, I made a brush for the balloons. Ignore the fact that some of them are chopped together, like these lines here, because I created one layer and then I had to like duplicate them. And it is a brush. For example, I can create a new one, a new layer, new color. I think it's got to be pretty bright for this brush to be pulled off. Yeah, balloon brush. And it just like, with a few little extra additions in there of like highlights and shadows, you can like turn the balloons into something really cool. So like you can see how kind of flat they are there, but like in here I've gone ahead and added shadows and some highlights to them and stuff, and it's very cool. I just never did anything with it. It was meant to potentially like resemble something from Up with the house, but I just did not want to draw the house. I just hated drawing. Just didn't enjoy it. I'm not going to draw anything I don't enjoy drawing. So then I was like, oh, do we do something else where we like attach something else to it? So it's like, it's just bizarre. What's up, Sissy? It's alright, it's no worries. You just missed a few of the photos from the Stag Do. You may have to rewind a little bit just to see those. So yeah, and then I was just messing around. Just this is what a design typically looks like before it gets anywhere near finished. It's just like throwing stuff at the wall constantly and just seeing what sticks. And you know, these lines are obviously completely incorrect for the balloons and the strings involved in them and stuff. So yeah, it's just Yeah, and then I thought about maybe someone holding the balloons or something and just give the brush away in a tutorial maybe. And it's just a simple clouds brush in the background as well. Just really simple, but it looks really cool, especially once you add the highlights and the shadows into here and they look so much more 3D. Like you can see this little white edge on here and likewise on here. And then I've added in shadows in between the gaps, which don't look like much, but it brings the whole thing to life a lot more. So, yeah. Delete the house and put a little... Oh, yeah, you already read that one. I could maybe just put a stamp in here of literally just like a girl or something holding on, or... Yeah, something like that, maybe. I don't know. That one never materialized into anything so far. I don't think there's really anything else to show you because I spent a lot of time. The only things I have done have been recorded, so yeah, they have turned into tutorials that you're yet to see. Next week's YouTube tutorial is a good old painting though, so like a proper painting, and it's about an hour and a half long, so you should love it if you like the longer tutorials that I've done recently, like the more painting. When I say painting, it's essentially just more detailed designs basically that match up a little bit to Patreon. But if you hadn't already seen, this is the one that I posted yesterday on Patreon. I think this is probably my favorite ever tutorial that I've ever done, and I don't know why I'm thinking about it, because it is, and probably by a long shot as well. It's just so like dark, not dark, but like it's got such an environment to it. Sissy, I was only joking. It would cost a fortune to chuck it over to me. Aren't you stateside? Are you stateside? No, you're not. Are you? I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll drop you a message on Instagram, Sissy. I'll drop you a message. So yeah, I think this is literally like my favorite tutorial. And then the fact that we can just turn the frame on and off so you can decide what one you prefer, just have the scene. But I think with the frame, I'm like imagining that we're just walking on a path around this like little lake, or we're on a path and we look to our left or right, whatever, and you just peer through and you can now see this scene like through a gap in the trees. That's what I imagine when you're looking at it. Yeah, I love it. It's just the whole misty design and stuff is something I've really fallen in love with, and putting a lot of techniques together that just done in the past and just bring them all together. Yeah, I love it. I think with or without the frame is fine. I think without the frame, it's arguably a little bit like nicer in the sense that it's minimalistic. The color only runs through like 2/3 of the canvas. That's almost like printable, whereas that one is more like almost like a story to it in a way. Very cool, very cool. Probably my favorite. I don't know why I keep saying probably. It is. It's my favorite. There's one coming out which is now probably my second favorite, and again that's probably not till like June. So June? Yeah, June. I appreciate the love on this one, guys. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad it looks something that you all like the look of. It's nice to go, like somebody said there about the one-pin willow design as well. Like it's nice to have like a little bit of a sort of repeating style with a couple of designs. Well, we've then got this one, the one-pin willow one. And it's like, one thing I'm really enjoying when it's a design like this is the fact of just like isolation. Like isolating that's the main focal point. And the rest of the entire canvas just doesn't mean anything to us. Like it's just not, you don't need to put detail in every single aspect. Like, I just don't, it's not necessary to put something there all the time. Those trees in the background are simply just filler, and with the mist, I like it even more because it kind of leans towards that fact even more of being like nothing on the rest of the canvas is the least bit interesting. Do you mean the Willow, Sissy, is your favourite, and the Railroad is a close second? See, the Railroad, right? That's also like super straightforward in a sense. Let's go to YouTube folder. I love this Railroad. The Railroad is just simple. Like we did it on stream and stuff. And part of that process is exactly the same, like build up the basic shapes and then add some highlights, basic color, then highlights, and then like fine highlights, like all these sort of scratch lines that I call them in the wood as well. Oh, the new one. Gotcha. Oh, nice. Cece, so what are they? Are they printed directly on the cup, or is it like a cup that's got like a small like gap where you can slide like a design in? How does it work? Kat says I started that one but had trouble with the wood planks. I have to go back and do it. Yeah, taking the breaks, perfect. Sometimes you can just hit that brick wall for whatever reason. Yeah, one of my favourites. James Julia commented on this one actually. He said good work or something along those lines, which is awesome. I appreciate the love from fellow peers. But yeah, just like not having to do something too intense. Like, to be honest with you, next week's YouTube tutorial is probably a little bit intense for an hour and a half. So it's probably going to take people a lot longer than that. But like, it's nice to try and stretch your muscles a little bit or something like that. Sissy says I print the print on a sublamination printer with a special paper, then I'll wrap the cup with the paper and bake it on there. That is crazy. So yeah, what else is there I can maybe just sort of point out that this tutorial, by the way, this one did very well and more than I was expecting. This one did really well. Just people loved it. I think maybe a lot of the variations are also interesting. I don't think many people sort of stayed right to the end to create these variations. I only typically saw this one, but a lot of people really enjoyed this one. Some people said it looked a bit empty and stuff, which I can somewhat agree with. Maybe a moon could have been at the top, but again, it's like sometimes I just want to do a bit less, if I'm honest, and just like have that less is more kind of mentality. Robs, lovely to see you as always, and we will catch you again next week. Yeah, this one did sick. But yeah, I've not got anything yet to show you, like anything that I can, like sneak peeks wise. If you want a sneak peek of what's coming up on YouTube this week, you've got to be a patron. So if you're a patron, check out the feed. You'll find a sneak peek in the feed of what's coming this Friday. And then the next one, if you are a patron, the next Patreon tutorial won't be till the 16th, and then we're going to do the 16th and we're going to do the 23rd. It's a long month. It's nice to spread them out a little bit, so don't worry if you don't sort of see anything. It's just going to be spread apart a little bit. But if you're not a patron, you can get this and 68 other tutorials, which are all available on my website. So you can check out my website and see all the designs you get before you become a patron. Lauren, for example, go ahead and check out my website there's a page on there. It's linked in the description down below on this video. I think it's joelcreate.co.uk/my-Patreon. And if you go there, you can see all the designs. In fact, let me just grab it up a second. Oh my days, Joel. You've had a new logo out for about a year and I've still not updated. No, wait, that was updated. That's 100% been updated. Troy Pascal with the 10 gifted memberships. Troy, thought we're gonna miss you today. It's all good, my friend. It's all good. You're very close to the end, but you just made it in time, guys. If you receive a membership from Troy, be sure to thank him in the chat. A few of you are here. Sissy, Roro. I don't know who else is hiding in the background. Can't see anybody else that looks like they're here. But yeah, if you receive one, thanks, Troy. Sissy, you're up to a bronze one with the stars on it now. Troy, I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for looking after everybody in the chat. Troy Pascal. So you can go to this website, this webpage, and you can see all of the designs that you unlock when you become a patron. And if you are a patron, you just have to simply tap on view visit post. It will take you straight to the post over on Patreon. Nothing to sort of stress. This is the place you need to come to. So you can scroll through all of these designs and just get an idea. The Robin one is also a favorite of mine as well. This one's a favorite. This is actually my lock screen. This photo manipulation tutorial. This one here. And obviously the cabin in the woods. Some of the earlier ones are a little bit more simple. But yeah. Try again. I appreciate the love, my friend. It's great to see you in the chat. Always looking after everybody. Troy's like I feel like Troy wakes up on a Wednesday and goes, ain't nobody going in this chat with a grey name. No one. Like it's just like his Wednesday objective. I mean, maybe it's 7 days a week. I don't know. We don't know. Maybe Troy wakes up every day and goes, ain't nobody having a grey name. Troy, you're up to silver. Wonder how much further you've got till gold. Yeah, all of these designs are available when you are a patron. Go down to the bottom, check out some of the earlier ones, have some fun. This frog one's fun. This one's also really cool with the painter, either painting in the sun, so bringing in the day. This one here as well with the hand. Oh, you shared your membership status. That's cool. 14 months. So yeah, you got a little while yet till it turns to gold. Gold is 2 years. So yours will be silver for a solid year. And then it moves up. Milo, this one here reminds me of you for some reason, the samurai. I don't know why. I think it was when you first sort of joined the community. It was one that you really enjoyed. The Harry Potter one as well. Oh, there's another, Lauren. Ah, yeah, Lauren. There's another jar one here. So you can check that one out. I don't know what number that is, but it's a little bit further down. So be sure to check that one out. The ship in a jar design. Yeah, Milo, I think that's exactly it. Bonsai one. I do think about revisiting that one at time to time. This one's also a fun one as well with the gold trim. That one's fun. Exploding planet. Photo manipulation to create like a little 3D world. This one here, right? I've got a bit of a soft spot for this one, but it didn't really do it quite as good as I hoped it would. It's the sketch side. So there's a sketch side of the feather and the other side is gold. We've got the lantern design. The neon peacock one. Cloning the bird tutorial. I love you with the raindrops on the window. That one's a classic. Someone asks me probably once a month if I will put it over on YouTube, and I tell them every single time, no, I'm not going to put it on YouTube. Well, they try every month. They try every month for me to try and do it. I know, an exclusive stays an exclusive, my friend. Bella says, I remember doing the balloon dog tutorial. Can't remember if it was yours or not, but it was fun. It's definitely mine, so I would hope someone's not stolen it. Your red light district one? No, that red light one is not a tutorial. The red light district one is from the video I shared of the sketchbook, wasn't it? Sketch-A-Day app. Nah, it's something I don't know. It probably wouldn't, but it's just something I feel a bit personally too close. It's for one, I drew it like 2 years ago, if not earlier. But also, I don't want it to tread too closely to not being like approved or anything, or like not liked by YouTube. I try to make sure my channel stays super healthy. I don't want to have anything that jeopardizes like the other tutorials, so I try to keep them pretty PG. And even though it's a silhouette and it's pretty fine, like I don't want to tread that line. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, be sure to check this out if you are a new patron or, you know, thinking of joining. You can see all of these ones, and then you can just jump on over to Patreon and jump straight to the content that you want to find. Because Patreon, I don't go back and delete anything. So like early access is still there to other things. You've got early access, sneak peeks and stuff. Like the feed is the feed. I'm not going to go back and change it. So maybe one day I'll go back and tidy it up. But for now, this serves as the best place to grab everything, which Milo has just put a link to as well. So I'm going to wrap it up, guys. We created a, should we show you what we created today? And then we'll wrap it. So today we created this nice little beach scene. Nice little sort of drawing in the sand. So yeah, this will probably be a tutorial. Well, it will be. I'll record it tomorrow and we'll see where it goes. But as always, thank you all so much for hanging out with me. It blows my mind that you all want to come and hang out with me on a Wednesday night. Well, night for me, wherever you are obviously in the world. So I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you enjoy all your tutorials that you get stuck into and have some fun with all of that. As always, I love you all very much, and we will see each other again next Wednesday. Nothing coming up next Wednesday, and make sure to keep an eye out, of course, as always, on Friday to the latest YouTube tutorial. So YouTube tutorials are out on a Friday, and typically Patreons are out on a Tuesday. Bear in mind there's only 3 a month. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. Just a simple one today, but still good fun and good to see everybody. Have a wonderful week. I love you all very much, and I'll see you again next Wednesday. And Troy, massive thank you to you again for the 10 gifted. You're a superstar. Peace.